Have a seat and hold on tight. Because the ultra-high performance tire that first raised the bar just crushed it again. With better traction, more stability, improved wet braking. For the modern muscle car, it's the next level of performance. Step up to the all-new Nitto 555 G2. Check it out at nittotire.com. It's what's next.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, you are now tuned in to 110 Sports Talk. I go by the name Lynn Knack. Hey,
Izzo back.
running through the competition, no competition. You don't believe it, turn us up. Sit back and listen. We bringing you the stats, all the breaking news and facts. Want the latest on the biggest trade war, this is where it's at. We don't talk it, boy, we live it. Got that all around coverage. From track and field, you name a field, we got it all covered. No diss to Derrick Rose, but we don't talk that bull. Just wait till he get healthy, better watch out for them bulls. Slide over the hockey, shout out to the Kings. Salute to LeBron James, y'all both got y'all rings. Looking for the real, you tune into the best. The sportologist and Mr. CJ Sports is up next.
I want to welcome everybody to another edition of the 110 Nation Sports Show. I'm your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Glad to be here on the 110 Radio Network's number one night. Lost my train of thought here. Tuesday night. We got our very own NHL expert, Izzo, joining us at 10:30. Looking forward to that. Looking a lot more forward to that than this beatdown that I'm watching Golden State put on the Indiana Pacers. We'll talk about that in a minute. Make sure that you check us out on Facebook. You can check out my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. You can check out the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. Check out our company site, www.the110nation.com, for all the links going on over here at the 110 Nation. Like I said, glad to be here on this Tuesday night, sitting here watching the Golden State Warriors. I believe it's their 23rd win. You know what? I was a fan. I was a fan of watching this at first, and it was fun to watch. Watching these guys play basketball, to always seeing, to always know where each and every last one of them is at on the court at every last second. Like, some of these passes have been just amazingly ridiculous. And the shots that you see fall, it's like there's no limit to it. And it was fun. I had even put on, I believe on my own personal page, how fun it was to actually watch the Golden State Warriors, even though that was a team that beats my Cleveland Cavaliers. That was the team that eliminated us from having the opportunity of winning a championship. But watching it at first was fun. Until, I mean, it's getting a little bit closer now. Now it's only a 16-point victory, but it was 30 points at one point in this game. After watching 20-something games of them not just winning, but beating the brakes off everybody, it's getting ridiculous. It's straight down actually embarrassing to watch all these teams not just lose, but get the brakes beat off of them. And they're not even doing it with their head coach. Like, ridiculous. Like, there's no other way to put this. As ridiculous as it is to watch Kobe Bryant try to play basketball this season with his 1 for 14 performances and 2 for 15 performances and whatever else performances he is whatever Kobe Bryant has performed this season, as ridiculous as it is trying to watch him play basketball. And I know it's sad because this is farewell tour. This is it, where we're seeing the end of one of the greatest basketball players in our era. But I mean, to watch him actually play it's been horrible this season, and you kind of feel bad for him that he obviously waited one season too late to retire, because it's horrible. And as bad as that is, it's just as bad now to sit here and watch Golden State play. And it's not a shot against Golden State. I mean, I wish my team would play like that. I wish the Cleveland Cavaliers, I mean, as of late, I've been watching them get beat by 15, 20, 25 points, and it's horrible. But, I mean, luckily tonight they're up by 11. It looks like they're going to, finish off strong at home against Portland here, up 89-78 with less than half the fourth to go. But it's not a shot by any stretch of the imagination at the Golden State Warriors. Like I said, I wish the Cleveland Cavaliers would have came out and won the first 22 straight games and doing it in commanding fashion. But being a fan of the sport and here sitting there trying to watch a game that you really have no invested interest in. I mean, honestly, I could care less if Golden State. Well, I mean, I kind of want to Golden State. I want for my Christmas, what I want to see on Christmas Day, more than anything, I would like to see the Golden State Warriors still be undefeated, and I would like to see the Cleveland Cavaliers be that team that finally knocks them off that undefeated streak they have going on. Love it. What it would make my Christmas, that would be the cherry on the top. I get to do everything else, probably to include work, but I get to do everything else that day. Why couldn't that just be the cherry on the top? To watch the Cleveland Cavaliers be that team. But I mean, honestly, outside of that, I really could care less who wins this game. Indiana Pacers, one of the hottest teams over the last 30 days, and Indiana the hottest team, Golden State the hottest team for the entire season. Either way, I would have been happy with whoever won. I just wanted the game to be close, at least interesting to watch. I mean, now that it's down to a 13-point game, and they just picked that up. That was just horrible. And a lot of it had to do with the 30-point lead going down to 13 as Golden State got comfortable and started benching some of their starters. I mean, when you're up by 30 points, it's time to take a break. And obviously that gave Indiana a shot. And for Golden State at this point, their players had rested for so long that now they got to get reheated up. But, I guess it's not that I care who wins this game. I'm not upset that Golden State's winning another game. I'm just upset that as a fan of the sport and a guy that's sitting here talking sports to you guys and is wanting to have something fun to talk about, I turn on a game that, for the most part, this is the closest it's been. They said they've got down to 16 points. I think they said at one point in the first, and that was like the closest they'd been all game long. Like I said, if it wouldn't have been for the fact that Golden State sat all their starters sitting their starters, the game wouldn't have never even got close again. And he just got the heck swatted out of him, and they having so much trouble getting that ball on that damn rim. Oh, they were playing hot potato with that ball. And Indiana, played his possession right and get it down to, and he just traveled, and they called nothing. But anyway, now we're down to an 11-point game. And now the game's actually been. It's kind of like last night's football game, other than it was not a blowout. There was just no offense, and I feel sorry for those fans that actually got, I'm not gonna say actually got tired, but got tired and went to bed and didn't watch the rest of the game, or just assumed that it was just going to be a boring game. I mean, there was no offense for 58 minutes and 14 seconds of the game. It was horrible. So many punts, it was people falling asleep. That was like one of the worst games to ever watch. until you got down to the last minute and 14 seconds. Like up to then, you kind of sat there because you want to know was Dallas going to win this game? Were they going to put the Washington Redskins with the Giants of Philadelphia 5-7 and put themselves only one game out of taking this division at 4-8? I mean, this is how sorry this division is. And so you sat there, and part of you was bored because there is no offense, and not that the defense was really that good on both sides. I mean, good enough to keep it to 9 points until the last minute, 46 seconds of the game. But honestly, the offense just played that bad. And so those that stayed away, you was kind of, you just want to know, can Dallas win without Tony Romo? Is Dallas really going to improve themselves to 4-8 and be a game within a game's reach of having first place in this division? Like, is this what we're about to see? And I think that's where a lot of fans were like me. If you made it through the game and you're sitting there watching it at that point, is because you want to know. I mean, we watched the sorry-ass Panthers last year, 7-8-1, and not be 500 and win the division. If you were going to throw it out there, and they do it all the time. Well, they won their first game. Yes, you beat an Arizona Cardinal team that was on like their fourth-string quarterback. Ooh, big freaking whoopie-doo. Once you got past that and had a team that was supposed to be in the playoff and had all their starters, you got beat. And people do the same thing when the Seattle Seahawks beat the Saints. Big whoopie-doo, you slip past somebody. You got your butts handed to you the next game. There's a reason why you couldn't win 500 or go 500 in your record. There was a reason for that. But anyway. And so you watch Dallas punt this ball to Deshaun Jackson, and you know Deshaun Jackson been sitting quiet for way too long. And you know Deshaun Jackson is either about to do something amazing or he's about to do something really stupid. Because, let's face it, Deshaun Jackson is not going to go silent on primetime TV in a very important game. And you watch the Dallas Cowboys punt the ball to Deshaun Jackson, who gets the ball like it's a 25, 22, something like that yard line, and goes like all the way, I think, out of the 23-yard line, and went all the way back to like the 1-yard line, and then gets up to almost the 10-yard line before he pops the ball up. It gives the Dallas Cowboys the ball. Now, the Dallas Cowboys taking advantage. Like I said, up to this point, we ain't seen nothing. A 3-3 ball game. Now you're assuming that because the Dallas Cowboys hadn't moved the ball hardly at all, and was really unable to do anything, or you're assuming at best maybe the Cowboys will run out a lot of the clock and they'll kick a field goal. And then you got your running back running out of bounds. You got this, you got that, and the next thing you know, they score a touchdown. And they're like, oh, stop. Now we've seen the only touchdown of the game. I mean, that was good. This was going to be the highlight of the game. It took like three plays later and 30 seconds off the play clock, we find Deshaun Jackson catching a perfect pass from Kirk Cousins for a touchdown. And within 30 seconds, with 58 minutes and 14 seconds without diddly squat, just 9-9 ball game. No end zone, no nothing. Next thing you know, we find this game to have 2 touchdowns and 30 seconds in the clock, and that's it. Like, all of a sudden, it went from a game that either you was watching because you wanted to know if Dallas could do it, or you was asleep. There was really no in between. To all of a sudden, I was, wow, this is a snap. This is a game. And then, of course, we watched Dallas Cowboys take it down the field far enough to set themselves up for a 54-yard field goal for Bailey to kick a touchdown or kick a field goal and win the game with 9 seconds left on the clock. Like, I know a lot of people that came in and came through the shop today. They were talking about how horrible that game was and how boring that game was. And, you know, kind of kind of rightfully so, and part of it. And I say that because, yes, it was only a 9-9 game. And with 3.5 minutes left, Portland has closed the gap a little bit. Is a 7-point lead for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And those that are not got the Indiana game on, Indiana has closed the gap to 9 points. And now they're trying to replay to decide who's going to get the ball. But and looks like they're going to keep it with Golden State. So, which could have gone either way on that call. So this game is not over yet, but like I said, the only reason this went from a 30-point lead down to a 9-point lead is Golden State pretty much benched all their starters, and then they had to get reheated up, and it took a minute. But Indiana just stole the ball, minute 10 left on the clock, 9-point game. Definitely keep you updated. But, you know, I can understand where, yes, maybe for 58 minutes it wasn't the most exciting game. I mean, that first quarter was horrible. 3 and out, turnover, 3 and out. I mean, that's all there was. But I would have to say at the same time that last minute and 46 seconds, that went from you laying there wanting to doze off to all of a sudden you're on the edge of your seat. And Indiana just took this to a 7-point lead with the and one at the free throw line coming up. But, and I know that I'm not the only one, and I know I'm not the only one that was just a Washington, or that was not a Washington or Dallas fan that was feeling that way. I mean, I'm sorry, if you're an NFL fan, if you were up in that last minute, 46 seconds of the game, you had to be on the edge of your seat. To watch that punt return, turn the fumble into a Dallas touchdown, to watch Kirk Cousins beautifully, and they missed the free throw, but they got the rebound, and then now they're just going ridiculous with trying to hit 3 points instead of going for 2. And keeping the game a 2-possession game. They just went stupid with that, and now Indiana's going to lose the game because of that. But to watch the punt and Sean Trax try to make something and fumble it, Dallas scored the touchdown. To watch Kirk Cousins probably throw one of the most perfect passes, and Deshaun Jackson catching that in stride for a touchdown. And then watching Dallas be able to take that and get into field goal range and take a field goal with 9 seconds left on the game. I'm sorry, but you don't have to be a Washington fan or a Dallas fan to be on the edge of your seat or enjoy what you got to see. I mean, you don't have to. There's no way. And so that's where I can't agree that this was a boring game or just a not exciting game, because that last minute and 40 seconds, minute 46 seconds more than made up for the rest of that game. And I was glad, even though I didn't have an invested interest in that game as well. I picked Redskins to win it. I honestly thought that the Dallas Cowboys could win with I'm not going to say without Tony Romo, but couldn't win with Brandon Whedon or Matt Castle. I just didn't think either one of those quarterbacks. Honestly, it would have been for that fumble punt return, Matt Castle never would have found himself having an offensive touchdown. And not to be ugly about it, but that is what it is. And so, like I said, at one point in time, watching the Golden State Warriors was, it was like that. It was fun. Even a blowout game, it was fun. It was exciting. Just get down to a 6-point with 28 seconds or 24 seconds. That's probably the closest that any game has come down to for the Golden State Warriors. And once again, I will state the fact that the only reason this is even this close is because and Steph Curry missed a free throw. What are you kidding me? The only reason it was this close was because the fact that Golden State benched their starters and benched them for a long enough period of time that they had to get reheated up, that they came back out with very cold stiff. But, yes, watching them at the very beginning, it was fun to watch. It was very exciting. You just didn't know. But now, it's ridiculous. Like, their teams, these are NBA teams. These are our professional teams. There's no reason that any one team should win 22 straight games and doing it in the fashion that they're doing it. There's no reason. And that's where it's ridiculous because it shouldn't happen. And that's kind of where I guess that watching 22 games, this happened 22 straight games, has gotten ridiculous and not so fun to watch because these are professional teams. These are supposed to be the best. I understand that I understand that some of their games have been easy, and their schedule has, not been the hardest. But I'm not going to take nothing away from what they've done to this point, and these are still all professional teams, and these are teams that are having above 500 records. Yes, I honestly thought Indiana would have given more of a struggle, and yes, I would love to see what they do against the Cavaliers and San Antonio Spurs and some of the greater tiers out there, but But 8-point game, wait 17 seconds is pretty much a wrap at this point. Like I said, it just kills me. I'm sorry, it really does. Cleveland is up 8 points over Portland with 1 minute left. Looks like they're going to be just fine. Brooklyn over Houston by 7 points with 9.5 left. I'll tell you what, Houston has not played anywhere close to the caliber that people were expecting, especially when they brought in Ty Lawson. James Harden, if he would learn how to play defense, video after video coming out now of him just standing around like he plays no defense at all. It is ridiculously, horribly bad. And if he had some talent versus just getting to the free throw line from flopping, Houston paid top money for probably a B player at best. He's definitely not an elite player or a big three at that matter. There's a reason why he was only the sixth man in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, speaking of which, are up by 12 points over the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies, unique team to me. They kind of all over the place. 1 week they're up, 1 week they're down. I've watched Cleveland beat them by, 20 or 30 points. I've seen them beat some good teams, and then I've seen them really struggle against others. And it's like no rhyme or reason behind the madness there. It's like I said, either they're really on or they're just really off. And yeah, it just got too 3-point happy, trying to shoot 3-pointers too much. And that just really ultimately killed them. Golden State is going to win, and Golden State's going to continue their run, 23 straight games. But maybe it's just a weird team. Really no rhyme or reason. It's just kind of all over the place. Earlier this week, or I believe it was actually the weekend, it might have happened yesterday, but LeBron James signed the biggest endorsement deal in Nike history. The exact numbers they came out, but it's a lifetime contract. It's worth, it easily surpasses the 10-year, $300 million deal Kevin Durant signed with Nike in 2014. I tell you what, Nike put a lot of money in. The contract is the largest single-athlete deal in Nike's 44-year history. It also marks the first time that Nike has officially given a lifetime deal. LeBron James, who was 30 and entering a new phase of his career, signed a 7-year deal, $70 million contract with Nike before he was drafted by the Cavaliers in 2003. In 2010, James re-signed with Nike and reportedly earned as much as $30 million annually. According to Grovel, LeBron's new deal easily surpasses the 10-year, $300 million deal that Kevin Durant signed. Sports One source reports that James has had his own signature shoe line with Nike since his rookie season, and sales of his shoe were the highest among active players at $340 million per year, according to Forbes. Yeah, it's a little easy when your shoes cost like $200 to $300 a pair. As Fortune's Daniel Roberts notes, James' deal with Nike is the latest in his series of successful business ventures. Last week, he landed a $15.8 million investment from Time Warner Cable in his media company. I tell you what, like him, love him, hate him, whatever the case may be, LeBron James obviously knows exactly what he's doing with his endorsements and is going to be living rather comfortably for the rest of his life. And if it easily surpasses $30 million a year, I can only imagine. And you know me. You know how I work here. We got to pull up the numbers. We got to know what kind of money we are playing here with. We did that when it came to David Price's contract, and come to find out when it was all said and done, it was more like $9,000 a pitch, about what he's averaging going to make. My numbers, I had 4 to 5, or I think I had 3 to 4,000, which was extremely low. Come to find out, yes, David Price on average will make a little over $9,000 a pitch. We also broke down Aaron Rodgers' contract when his came out, and based on them playing on average about 30 minutes a game offense, 30 minutes game on defense, I mean, from him being on the field about 30 minutes a game, he was making about $51,000 a minute to be out there playing a football game. And we know that 2 years, so he makes $23.5. So the next 2 years, he is making $53 million at least, and it easily surpassed. So easily surpassed means to me that he's making probably about $40 million. Let's say 35. So $59 million just on the Nike contract and just on his Cleveland Cavalier contract. I'd be willing to bet that LeBron James probably makes somewhere in the ballpark figure of about $75 million a year when you count all his endorsements. Kia, I'm not sure which beverage he's down with, but I'm sure that he is endorsing or endorsed by Gatorade or Powerade or some kind of beverage. I don't know all his endorsements, and we'll see if we can pull those up. But I can only imagine that he's making about right now, and of course, when the new TV contract goes into effect, and he gets even a bigger contract, we already know where all that's going to, where all that money is going to go to for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I'd be willing to bet, and we'll see if they even have this available here. I shouldn't have hit enter so quickly because I believe that list. Learn a few. Not to mention the fact that he was in the movie. A couple movies. Come on. Close you out. James. Kind of curious. Like, I'm almost willing to visualize the fact that he makes about $1 million a game. That it might be more like the $82 million a year once you start throwing in endorsements. I'd love to see how long of a list his endorsements are. It, at this point, really has me curious. Does not want to cooperate right this second. Let's see what this says about the breakdown of the numbers. This is, like I said, this is based off of 2014. You got the shoes, the Beats headphones, very expensive watch, Dunkin' Donuts. You know what's right there? He makes $42 million from Coke, Nike, Upper Deck, Samsung, out of Mars, Pickwick, the watch, Dunkin' Donuts. $42 million there, and that was counting Nike. That's now no longer there. You know, so now that deal has been changed. And that's not even adding Kia in there. So let's swap Kia out. Let's throw it and add Nike again to this. And while obviously Kia is probably not paying him $30 million, but I'd be willing to bet that LeBron James makes roughly $1 million a game. When his endorsement deals are said and done, 82-game schedule, I'd be willing to bet that LeBron James makes somewhere in that ballpark figure of about $1 million a game. So being LeBron James and sitting out the other night, he just pretty much got paid $1 million to rest his body, as he was taunted for doing so by the Miami Heat fans as he decided not to play against his former team. And which I guess I kind of found kind of entertaining. But the one game you decide, you know what, I want to take a break. I'm going to let my body rest. I am not going to I want to travel, but I'm not going to suit up to play the Miami Heat in Miami, who's been playing very well lately. I'm going to go ahead and rest my body down. So I find that to be rather entertaining. But with that being said, more likely than not, LeBron James has made $1 million just sitting there last night. It just kind of makes you sick. Really no other word to describe how that's got to churn in your stomach, knowing that this man is making $1 million a night to play basketball. And last night he got paid $1 million just to go ahead and sit the game out. Like, I'm sorry, but that definitely would definitely not sit well with me. It just wouldn't. Even being the Cavalier fan that I am, that just kind of I'm here struggling to make ends meet. We're trying to pinch every last dime so we can move into a place that is still kind of a crap hole, but to step up to where we're at, then it's going to cost us twice a month to live somewhere. But compared to where we live, it's going to cost us an increase of about almost twice anywhere we go. So that, it's not like, well, why do you guys find something a little bit cheaper? Well, we just happen to get a really good deal in a really crap hole situation to kind of fill us in until we got somewhere. But it found something. So to know that, I'm busting my butt, putting all these hours in, and Shorty's busting her butt, putting in all these hours in, and there's days I gotta either walk or ride a bike to work and watch kids and everything else, and I get to turn on the TV and watch somebody that is sitting on the bench and is getting paid $1 million to do it roughly. I mean, he's been playing about 30 minutes or so a game. Let's give him about 35. Let's give him 36 minutes. I know it's what to try to keep him in roughly. So he's making about $27,000 a minute to be on the court, and usually stay a minute a game or $1 million a game. Let's base that. Let's go back to $75 million for the year. Probably a little bit more realistic. That man is getting paid $205,000 a day. If his contract and his endorsements, I remember he was making $42 million in 2014 on his endorsements. Nike just easily surpassed him, making $30 million. So obviously it's an increase. His contract wasn't as good as Kevin Durant. So that means he's got at least jumped up at least $8 million a year, but probably more. And I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt. And this is even before the new contract deal goes into effect, and Cleveland's going to pay him even more when his contract's up. But as of right now, this year, he is making at a minimum, $205,000 a day. Almost 205 and a half. 205, 479.45. Easily. And that's probably a low ballpark figure. That's counting his contract, his endorsements that we do know about, that we did list off. I don't know if I know a handful of people. Matter of fact, I don't know a handful. I hardly know anybody makes that kind of money personally, a year. And this man makes it a day. I never, ever, after knowing what each of these players makes, we can go back to talking about David Price, 31, not even counting any deals. Not counting any endorsements. Obviously, his endorsements, David Price, is not going to be as much as LeBron James. But as far as I know, he don't got no Nike deal. As far as I know, his basketball is a little bit more marketable than a pitcher on a baseball team. And I think Randy Johnson and maybe Roger Clemens and maybe Kurt Schilling is at most about the only three pitchers I can recall seeing in a commercial. It's just not the thing. But even if you base what David Price is getting just strictly on his contract, he's still making $84,000 a day. Rain, sun, shine, it don't matter. Off season, regular season, postseason, regular season, $84,000, almost just short, just $100 short of not even $100 short of $85,000 a day. Not counting any endorsement deals. I guarantee he's got some kind of endorsement deals. So we'll say $100,000 a day. Now, obviously, nowhere close to the $205,000 a day, but $100,000 a day. At this point, that's the only anybody makes $100,000 a year, let alone $100,000 a day. I don't ever want to hear, and we can do the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. But I don't know his stats on Allstate, and obviously with the double check discounts and everything else, obviously they probably pay him a pretty penny. So, or State Farm. So where I'm kind of going with this when you have athletes that are feeling underappreciated, feeling that they're not getting the contract that they deserve, such as Cam Chancellor in the beginning of the season for the Seattle Seahawks, who had already got a new contract and then also had his current contract already modified and got more money once in this contract. Already once. I don't feel sorry for any athlete. Because when you break down the numbers, it is really beyond ridiculous how much they really get paid. And therefore, I will never sympathize. I will never approve of somebody sitting out for another contract. I wouldn't even approve even without knowing those numbers. I feel you're on a contract. I feel that you are an employee. You got people, well, the owners don't stay loyal. They cut players. Big freaking whoop you do. You make the billions of dollars that it takes to own a team, then you get to make those choices. You get to make those decisions. You get to protect your investment. However you feel fit. You're an employee. Go to your job tomorrow and say, you know what? You pay me $10 an hour, but I feel that I am $20 an hour product, and so I'm going to sit on this bench right here, and I am not going to work until you pay me. I guarantee there might be 1 in a million business out there that will give you that money. That you might have a specialty job out there that you are one of very few people that know it, and there you put them in a rock and a hard spot. But I guarantee the other 999,999 job opportunities out there, somebody did that, they say, you know what, here's your papers, go ahead. It's been nice knowing you. We'll start someone else out and probably pay them less until they work up to your experience. Deuces. And that's more than likely how it would go. People get all locked up in this feeling sorry for the athlete because of the loyalty and not thinking the fact that this is a job. This is a job. This is an employer. Athletes are the employee. That's all there is to it. It is strictly business. Some players, such as Tim Duncan, I think, 20 years or whatever, 22 years, 21 years. Some players will play on the same team throughout their whole career. Some players will leave and come back, such as LeBron James. Some teams, the players do not play up to their expectations or the team's expectations, and they bounce around. It is an employer-employee situation. At no point, and I blame this a lot on the owners and the teams, and also blame some of it to the fact that there was just a lack of talented players coming up. We had a conversation there. We can't think of one quarterback that is a pocket passer that is going to be a legitimate NFL starter and take their team to the playoffs in the first year they're there. We can't even think of a legitimate quarterback that was a pocket passer. I chalk that up to lack of talent. So what they want to know, that's just the way the NCAA is. No, if a quarterback truly was accurate and knew how to throw the ball, they wouldn't rely on their athleticism and wouldn't transform themselves into a running quarterback. If you have legitimate throwing and you're a legitimate passer, that's what the case would be. But that's not the case. So when you have athletes out there that feels that they have outperformed their contract, some of them have. Russell Wilson had outperformed his rookie contract. Do I feel that he should have got another contract? No. I feel if the Seattle Seahawks said, you know what, you've outperformed your contract, here's to compensate for it, then yeah, okay, great. One up for the Seattle Seahawks. If they didn't do that, then keep that in the back of your mind when it's time for you to get another contract, or when you have your last say on how your opinion of that organization ran as you went out the door, or you went to another team, or you retired, or whatever the case may be. If they don't do that, that's something you need to hold to yourself, and that's something you need to consider when it's time for you to make your next move. But to sit out and demand more money, no. I don't feel there's any player out there that deserves the right to do that. You're an employee. Live out your contract. Live to see your next contract. Be thankful you're making the money you're making anyway. Yes, it might not be what you're worth, but I'm sorry, you keep performing at the level you need to perform, you're going to be making $100,000 a day, every single day, 365 days, or $205,000 a day, every single day. And you perform at the levels such as LeBron James, and such as David Price, and such as Aaron Rodgers, you'll have those contracts. I mean, hell, you don't even have to play at those levels. Hell, you can play just to the level of James Harden. That's all the harder level you got to play, and still make something like $50 million, and that's just off his Adidas contract and his Houston contract, not counting any other endorsements that he's part of. And we all know he's at least part of the Beats contract endorsement deal, and I'm sure he's got a couple of the Taco Bell with that stupid breakfast burrito stuff. So I guarantee James Harden is probably seeing close to $60,000, $70,000, or $1 million a year. Is he worth it? No. That was just like one of the worst plays I've ever seen. That was just horrible. And yes, they switched over that game as James Harden or the Houston Rockets have closed the gap down to a 4-point game. But and this definitely should not have been a foul. That's. And I'm sorry, you make almost $1 million a game. James Harden, you should not be missing a free throw. And same with LeBron James. LeBron James has been shooting horrible this year. I'm sorry, but this, and I'm about to get into a whole other pet peeve here. And I'm going to talk about this in further, probably on Facebook as well, get other people's opinions. If you got an opinion or you listen to the show, hit me up on Twitter, @CJSports1. Put @110Nation in it as well, so we get both sides, both houses into this conversation. But why is it after every free throw are our players expected to give each other 5? I don't get it. It's an uncontested shot at the same spot every time. You make millions of dollars a year, you should be at least a 90% or better. I'm sorry, you should be. The type of money the NBA players make for a wide-open shot at the same spot every time, 90% or better. There's really no excuse. I'll give you 80%. We'll go on a curve. But that should be the worst you ever are at the free throw line. With a wide-open shot. I want to remind everybody, wide-open shot. Uncontested. The Nets look like they're going to win this game. Yep. That's pretty much a wrap. But uncontested, wide-open shot. Same spot. Every time. I want to know why NBA players feel that every time they shoot one and make one, they got to give high five. So every time that Tom Brady completes a pass, should the whole offensive line come give him 5? I mean, just pass. I mean, it's not spectacular. It's a wide-open shot, uncontested. So a little swing pass to a wide-open Gronkowski. Should the whole offense come over and give him high fives? Every time a baseball player hits a single, should the whole team run out there and give him 5? I mean, that's the equivalence here. I mean, it's even not so much. It'd actually be more like, should the whole team come out and give a base runner high five if he's walked to first base? So if Big Poppy, it gets an intentional walk, it's an uncontested, free opportunity. So every time Big Poppy gets intentionally walked, should the whole team come out and give him 5? can't really do the same in the NFL. The closest thing I guess I can get is a wide open pass. Get Gronkowski with no receiver even close, and it'd only be like a 2-yard pass. Should the whole team come out and give him a high five, or the whole offense give him a high five? I mean, I don't, and I don't. I mean, it'd be like a NASCAR. Every time someone passes another driver, a lap down car, better yet, the whole team come and give him a high five when he comes and gets a pit stop. I mean, I don't mean to just seem like this ass about it, but at the same time, it's a wide open, uncontested shot at the same line every single time. Every single time. I don't understand why the other 4 guys got to give you a high five on something that, at minimum, with a curve, you should be hitting 80% of the time anyway. That would be like every golfer coming up and giving someone a high five just because they knocked it off the tee. Not because where it goes, but just the fact that they just hit the ball. I mean, I could do this for every sport. I'd be like the whole team coming over and giving the server a high five for hitting the volleyball or even the tennis to hit the ball over the net. That's it. Nothing extravagant. Just hold on, high five everybody. Okay, let's continue playing. Why? And I know I'm nitpicking on it, and I'm not really nitpicking. I just want to know. I mean, why in this one sport, the most simplest thing, which I understand a lot of people miss, and obviously is not as simple as it should be for NBA players that are getting the contracts they're getting. Sorry, LeBron James, but you're getting paid $205,000 at least, at a minimum, a day in your life. You should be. You don't get a curve. You should be 90%. I'm sorry. But it's even more ridiculous to me to know that the other 4 guys on the court got to come give you high five in between each time you make a free throw. And of course, if it's one and the other team gets the ball, you're high fiving each other to go back down the court on a free throw. I can understand if you out-looped in a nasty dunk, or if you stole the ball in a fast break or something. I understand that. Good move, good play. You stole the ball. Or you performed a highlight reel. Okay, I get you. I'm cool with that. But it's a free throw. The only time that the free throws ever get on SportsCenter or the top 10 plays is, and actually it's not even the top 10 plays, it's the top 10 not so top 10 plays, is it somebody like Andre Jordan misses 22 free throws in a game. They don't ever just make the highlight reel because someone made it for the hell of it. So why are we high-fiving each other on the most simplest possible shot in the NBA? I do not get it for the life of me. I do not understand it. I don't think I will ever understand it. I don't get it. And I'm assuming, just being nosy, I'm assuming since there's we've not had I just being nosy, but anyway, back to what I had to try and do 2 things at once. I know, not allowed to do it, but I don't know. I just simply I find it humorous that the most simplest thing in the NBA, that's what you got to high-five each other every time you see. The streak continues. Golden State Warriors 23-0. This next part of it I have an issue with. 27 wins in a row. I understand what they're saying. They're 27 regular season games in a row. I'm sorry, but if you finish one season, to me, that should not count as consecutive wins when you have losses in between. I'm sorry, that kind of defeats the whole consecutive win thing. I know it's not fair to them. We could have had a team like 76ers last year. They could have won the last 10 games in a row, not made the playoffs, and then won the next 15 in a row and had 25 consecutive wins versus the Golden State Warriors, who might have won the last 4 games last year but was in the playoffs, lost some games. And I don't count it the same because you had losses in between. I understand that's not a fair scenario. But to use the word consecutive wins and throw in regular season, I just don't like it. I'm sorry, but if you make the playoffs and you don't run the table, then you should not be listed in 27 wins in a row. I don't care, and I don't care if you put in parentheses, which they didn't, regular season games or consecutive regular season games, because that's what it is, not 27 games in a row, which that's this whole banner that CBS Sports put out is very misleading because they have not won 27 straight games. And it says nowhere on their little banner here, regular season game. I just don't like it. I if you miss the playoffs, you lost. You start back. You got 23. You're 23-0. You got 23 wins in a row. I'll even give you 25. I think they won the last 2 games. You're 25 wins in a row. I give you that much. But don't say 27 and backtrack it to your last 4 consecutive regular season game wins when you had defeats in between. It just, I just don't like it. And like I said, I understand it's supposed to be regular season and a streak based on regular season wins. There's just certain streaks and certain things that get thrown like that around, and one, it just makes, if you read this, you think, wow, they've won 27 straight wins. So they won 20 and then won the last 4 games, and, that was the last time they lost was back in the Western Conference Championships, because the way it looks like it's worded, they must have swept the finals, because it just says 27 in a row and then 23 straight wins here. Like I said, I understand what it's supposed to mean, but this is why I don't like it worded that way. That's why I don't like it being 27 wins or for it still going to show mad love, still going to show mad respect. I'm not going to hate on the Golden State Warriors. They're just not to me as fun as it once was when I watched the current first 10, 15 games and to watch them do this, but watching them do it and watching them do it in the way that they've done it, like, and even close to today, I mean, it's history in the making. I'm seeing something that no generation has ever seen before, and we'll probably never see again. And coming in on the LeBron James. So First one tweeted out, would not be surprised if LeBron's lifetime deal exceeds $1 billion. On LeBron Nike deal front, I'm told by person with knowledge of financials that estimate of between 400 and 500 million are significantly low. It's crazy. Must be rough. And like I said, never again do I ever want to hear any fan out there sympathizing for an athlete about they deserve to get their contract, they deserve to get paid. Because you start actually doing the breakdown of these numbers and what they're making, because people don't sit there and think about all these endorsements that are part of this whole deal, this whole process. Once you start throwing in all these numbers, like I said, there's no doubt in my mind LeBron James is going to get paid about $205,000 a day. And probably for a very long time, and even more here soon, because, like I said, the NBA TV deal is going to make it where starting 2017, they have a bigger salary cap, and therefore LeBron James is why he had that contract for 2015, 2016, because in 2017 he was going to have a new contract for more money. He's 30. You figure he's going to milk what he's making now for at least 6 to 8 years. Probably going to play 10 years for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We already know the Nike contract is for life. We already know that there's been talks of LeBron James and a baseball team. Never, please, do I ever want to see a comment, hear somebody call the show, or anything to that nature when it comes to these contracts. Let the players play out and let their contracts play out. Because I guarantee you, when it's all said and done, at some point in their contract, they're going to make more in a day than you make in a year. If they are really, or if they are if they are anywhere close to as good as they think they are, and they feel that's why they need a contract, a better, an improved contract, if they're that good, they will get a contract that will pay them more than what we make in a year. They'll get paid that in a day. They will. Don't worry about it, fans. Quit stressing because your favorite player or a guy on your favorite team is not making what they feel that they should make, and our butt hurt. Because where you don't take into consideration of the fact that most of them only play the NFL, half a season? They're done by February, and that's if you even make it to the playoffs or make it to the Super Bowl. Regular preseason don't start back until, late August, September? I mean, there's a good potential 6 to 8 months of off time outside of OTA, a little practice, and then you only go work 1 day a week. I mean, you're really that sympathetic to football players? I mean, I know when Chris Johnson sat out, Terrell Reeves sat out, Chancellor sat out. All those people said you should get paid. Russell Wilson was, in his contract dispute. Oh, they should get paid. These teams should come off this money. Blah blah blah. Why? When you start actually breaking down these numbers, I mean, David Price over $9,000 a pitch on average, based on what he's done over the last 2 to 3 years. He's going to make. He averages 30 to 32 games out of 182 games? 181? Pitcher's only got to play a fifth of them, a sixth of them. Are you serious? Like, $9,000. And people want to be sympathetic. I've never gotten it. We'll never understand it. Don't forget, you can check us out. Check out our company over at www.the110nation.com. Check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. You can check us out on Facebook, my fan page. Check out my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. You can check out the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check us out on Twitter. My Twitter is at CJ Sports1. The 110 Nation is at 110 Nation. Don't forget you can catch us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio. Multiple ways to catch. We got some talks going on. We might be having our shows played on another network as well. So that's what we're in talks and what we're hoping for. So hopefully that's hopefully that deal ends up working out. But also make sure that you if you're not following us on Spreaker, make sure you follow us on Spreaker. Why it's important for us to have you guys follow us on Spreaker. Between social media, between the site that shows everything else, we got over 50,000 followers. We just need 100 of you guys simply to go follow us on Spreaker. Once we hit 100 followers on Spreaker, we are then eligible to get the ball rolling on us getting put on the iHeartRadio network. One of the biggest apps that is downloaded in the history of apps, and our radio network could potentially be on there once we hit 100 follows. Do us a favor. Either go over and hit us up on Spreaker and follow us if you already got a membership. If you don't have a membership, then all you got to do is use your Facebook to set up an account, and then follow us once you set up an account. It'll take, if you have an account already with Spreaker, it takes you like 15 seconds to follow us. If you don't have an account, you got to set it up using your Facebook. It takes you like 30 seconds. And I mean, literally, 15 to 30 seconds is about all it takes to follow us, to help all these hard-working people here at the 110 Nation, with the 110 Nation Sports Show, Racing with Big Sweat, the 110 Nation Morning Show, our NHL expert, Miss Lee, everybody that's working hard at the 110 Nation, help us jump to the next level. And help us make it so we can get on the iHeartRadio. We can continue to grow here, and we can provide an opportunity for everybody to be able to continue doing what they like to do, but do it as a job and not have to stress and worry about the day-to-day having another job that this would be their job. So make sure that you guys check that out and follow us over there. Help us out. Do us one good. It's Christmas season. Help us out. joining us at 10:30. Looking forward to talking to him. Patrick Kane, scoring streak, amongst a handful of other things that I know he wants to talk about, some all-star stuff. Just I don't know just what happened. Everything just went weird on my screen. What is happening? I'm really confused. What we're going to do, we're going to close that out. We're going to reopen that. Oh. One, the Browns reinstate Manziel starting quarterback. At this point, if I was Johnny Manziel, I'd be like, you know what? Bump it. Y'all keep the starting quarterback position. I'm tired of y'all giving it to me, and then as soon as I get comfortable being the starting quarterback, y'all yank it from underneath my feet. I'm sorry, but at some point, I would be. Johnny. At some point, tell the Cleveland Browns, I mean, they're one of the worst teams in the history of the sport, and this is my team. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to clown, but I am at the same time. You see the fan base, you see hardly anybody is showing up to the games. I mean, this is ridiculously, horribly bad. But I guess the Cleveland Browns are doing Johnny Manziel a favor, believe it or not, and making him the starting quarterback. Ironically enough, going into this weekend, we had just got done watching the 3 prior games go in walk-off style. And what I mean is we watched the Denver Broncos win on a walk-off touchdown run in overtime over the New England Patriots. Then we watch the Baltimore Ravens block the Cleveland Browns field goal, return it for a touchdown, walk-off win. And then Thursday night, we watched the Green Bay Packers 61-yard Hail Mary pass to walk off to beat the Detroit Lions on the last play of the game to walk off touchdown. Ironically enough, all 3 of those games, they wouldn't have had the walk-offs, I would have won, because I had the exact opposite pick all 3 times. Yeah, how aggravating that was to sit there and watch 3 amazing finishes and yet got to be pissed off because I needed them actually go the opposite way at all 3 games. Horrible. Steelers got themselves an interesting situation because now that they have found their rhythm, you're watching probably the best wide receiving squad in all the NFL with Antonio Brown, Wheaton, and Bryant. And it's really a shame because this Steelers team probably could do some serious damage in the playoff, and we already know what's going to happen to Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to choke up the fur balls and lose just like they do every other single season in the playoffs. But it's interesting to see the Cincinnati Bengals as your number 1 seed team, and how quickly we watched the New England Patriots go from 11-0 as being the number 1 seed, slipping down to 11-2, and now being the 3rd seed, not just 2nd, 3rd seed. You are sitting with the Cincinnati Bengals as the number 1 seed in the AFC. You got the Denver Broncos as the number 2 seed in the AFC, and then falls in line the New England Patriots as your 3rd seed, and then I find it rather humorous that you got the Indianapolis Colts in the 6-6 with your next seed, then it was Kansas City and the New York Jets, with the Steelers on the outside looking at one of the probably the best teams in the NFL right now, especially on the AFC side, and there's a good possibility that they will not find their way into the playoffs. Congratulations to the Cleveland Browns being the first team to officially be eliminated out of the playoffs. Nothing like my Cleveland Browns. But very, very interesting how things have how they've shipped up, and then in the NFC you got Carolina being the first team to lock themselves in the playoffs, knowing that they will, no matter what, at worst finish 2 games above anybody else in their division. But done locked up at 12-0, the number 1 seed. Well, the number 1 seed is not locked up, but they are locked into the playoffs. But right now, they sit as the number 1 seed. Arizona, the number 2 seed. Green Bay, your 3rd seed. Washington, your 4th seed. And then you're looking at Minnesota, your 5th seed, and you're looking at Seattle, your 6th seed right now. Really, outside of the way Atlanta started, I guess really not a surprise in the NFC. We really only expected one team out of the East. We just thought it was going to be the Cowboys, but really not a surprise, I guess. Green Bay and Minnesota, I guess if we would have picked a division that might have had 2, we would have thought it would have been Carolina and Atlanta this year maybe. But Carolina and Minnesota, or Green Bay and Minnesota, I guess just the fact that Minnesota's in the playoffs are kind of strange to me. Carolina, really not surprised back in the playoffs, especially with that schedule. And then Arizona and Seattle, really not a surprise as well. Some really good games this weekend, some intriguing games. Of course, Jacksonville, as much as I talk about, I had more confidence in Marcus Mariota winning than I did in Blake Bortles. We had a showdown. Marcus Mariota going 20 of 29, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Blake Bortles, not like he stumped it up, 24-36, 322 yards, 5 touchdowns. Blake Bortles was the better of the 2 quarterbacks, but all in all, the Tennessee Titans was the better of the 2 teams. With Jacksonville having more penalties, which obviously, obviously hurt them, and Tennessee just getting more yards, more time in the possession, having the ball about 7 minutes more than the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, of course, that was one of those mini games that this week I did not find right. Buffalo showing up and deciding to beat the Houston Texans. Didn't get that one right either. San Francisco in overtime. I mean, really? You couldn't win all year long. I stopped picking you. I started picking the Chicago Bears, who looked like they turned things around and was really starting to perform. Has won 3 of the last 2 games, even with that loss. I went with Cleveland with the upset. I mean, hell, right there, 1, 2, 3, 4. First 5 games on this list right here, I've already got wrong. I thought Cleveland might have pulled up the upset. I thought that they might go in being cocky. I finally got a win with Arizona over St. Louis, thank God. Miami and Baltimore, of course, I got that right as well. Seattle over Minnesota, got that one right. Jets over the Giants. I mean, as deep as they are, I really thought the Giants would win. Got that wrong. Tampa Bay over Atlanta, got that wrong. Got the Kansas City over Oakland right. Got the Denver over San Diego right. Obviously did not get the New England Patriots losing right. Of course, Carolina, another below 500 team, of course, got that right. Pittsburgh got that right. Did not get the Dallas game right. I really thought Washington was going to pull that one off. And, hell, if you watch the last 46 seconds, there was a lot of hope and a lot of reason why you still thought they were going to win that game last night. As interesting as they got there at the very end. Goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness. Ben Zobrist agrees to 4-year deal. Here we go with these ridiculous contracts again. $56 million deal with the Cubs. Has made up his mind. He reunited with his old manager, Joe Munn, and signed it with the Chicago Cubs. The deal first reported by Ken Rosenthal of Fox Sports and later confirmed by the club, pays $56 million over 4 years and gives the Cubs a versatile veteran to add to their youthful lineup. The decision ends a competition for Zobrist that had been one of the winter's meeting top stories so far, as reports of 3-year offers turned into 4 and contract values rose until agreed to this deal with an annual average value of $14 million. The New York Mets were reportedly the other finalists for Zobrist. While they were working on signing Zobrist, the Cubs also swung a deal to trade Starlin Castro to the New York Yankees. Team president Theo Espian said earlier in the day that the Cubs were trying to sync up a trade and free agent signing. Big deal, obviously, for the Chicago Cubs. Another ridiculous contract that we can talk about. But Chicago Cubs obviously are not satisfied with the fact that you just made it to the World Series, but now are trying to do everything they can within their power to win a World Series, and adding a key veteran piece such as Zobrist to the lineup is a very good thing for obviously a smart move by the Chicago Cubs. For Cubs fans' sake and being a Cleveland Browns fan, I hope for your guys' sake that works out for you guys and helps you guys be victorious, because it's not working in the favor of the Cleveland Browns by any stretch of the imagination. Where it's so funny and so cruel. Oh, goodness. We got Izzo joining this year in a couple minutes. I didn't really want to jump into too much more, as I know we would be switching topics to the NHL direction. Wow. Oh, goodness. While we wait for him to call in, don't forget to check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com, or you can check out our company site, www.the110nation.com. Like I said, if you're not following us on Spreaker, make sure you guys follow us on Spreaker. Help us get to 110,000. I know about a month or so ago we was only in the 20s. Now we're in the upper 40s, so I know we're getting there, and we're trying to wait patiently. But if anybody doesn't know our goal, we're hoping by mid-2016 to be on 5 hours a day, every single day, and we're hoping that by the end of 2016 we will have all 8 hours that we have the capabilities of getting our hands on, being full 7 days a week, in preparation for us to moving to a 24-hour network. I mean, that's our ultimate goal, but, baby steps to get there, and we'll continue getting there. So make sure that you guys follow us over on Spreaker to help us out, help us build to that 100 follows so we can get ourselves on the iHeartRadio network. We got Izzo joining us, our NHL experts. We got him in the studio now. How are you doing tonight, Izzo?
Doing pretty good, Jay. How about yourself?
I was a little excited about, I'm going to say a little bit more than a little excited, but I was a little more excited about you coming on when you informed me earlier to the fact that the Columbus Blue Jackets were leading against the Los Angeles Kings. And then while I'm in the middle of the show looking at scoring updates of the Cleveland Cavalier game and the Golden State Warrior game, I see that my Columbus Blue Jackets lose in overtime 3-2.
Yeah, I was catching that part of that Cavaliers game earlier tonight at work, so it looked pretty good. Looked like it'll were playing pretty well, but I'm kind of watching hockey on the phone right now, so everything's going as planned right now.
There you go. Before we jump into this, why don't you let all the puckheads know how they can get a hold of you on Twitter?
Hey, you follow me at 110 Puckhead. Shoot me a tweet. Trying to get on there as much as possible now. So I'm always on there. Always paying attention to Facebook too. So shoot me a tweet. Let's chat up some hockey.
So I see that Patrick Kane has got a pretty impressive streak going on. And for being that it's not quite the NHL guru, how impressive is this 22-game streak, and how rare is this?
Well, just to put it in perspective, this record was 44 years old, set by Bobby Hall back in the day. So this is, he had 13 goals, 23 assists during this streak. Is playing, I think, his best hockey in his career right now. He's all over the place. He's putting goals up. He's putting assists up. He's just putting points up. And, point a game, keeps that streak alive. So I haven't been able to check in on their score as of yet. I haven't been watching that game. But I'm getting ready to tune in here pretty soon. So hopefully he can keep that going. Like I said, it was a 44-year-old record. So that's a lot of games that have been played that, guys go on these scoring streaks and they aim for their team record. And this team record now belongs to Patrick Kane, who is just dominating the ice right now. Just an animal, tearing it up on the offensive zone, getting good looks, giving good chances. So if he keeps this up, Chicago's going to, only be on the rise in that Central Division, against Nashville and Minnesota and everybody right now, as we all see that division is just, there's just so many good teams in there. You have to play the best hockey every night. If not, you're just going to keep sinking down. And right now, Chicago is just, they're thriving on Patrick Kane right now.
Now, I can tell you with a little over 18 minutes left in the third, Patrick Kane has not scored a point yet in this game, that the Chicago Blackhawks are up 3-1. What was the prior streak? Was it 21 prior to this game, or prior to him breaking?
Yes, it was 21 games prior to the other game the other day. So, like I said, he is just white hot right now. Putting points up and everything like that, trying to keep them in games and everything like that. So, as long as the offense, starts pulling around and Trevor Daley can, get off the injury bug right now and get that defense back to where it needs to be. They're going to be a very scary team to see, later in the springtime after the trade deadline. So, Patrick Kane, man, he's just tearing it up, putting points up, putting assists up, man. It's a beautiful thing to watch right now.
I bet it is. What is a normal streak in the NHL? 10 games, 15. Is it common to have streaks? And if so, what would be an average streak for somebody to have points in a row?
It can vary. 7 to 12 games is pretty good. Once you get up into that 13, 14, 15, even into the 20-game, point streaks, you're that's where you're really setting a mark for yourself, really. You're trying to aim really high. You're trying to play the best hockey you can, but, usually 7 games is pretty average. Up to 12 games is getting really good. And then anything above 15, I feel, is just, they're just on fire, and there's nothing that you can do right now to stop that player. So, it's kind of, you do see some pretty good point streaks going during the season. It's been a while since we've seen one like this, take place and everything like that. So, hopefully, like you said, he's still got 18 minutes, under 17 minutes now, I would assume, but, to try and, keep that streak going. So, like I said, congratulations to him. I know the Hall family was pushing for him pretty good to see him take that record. So, long-standing record of 44 years, but, hard to believe that Bobby the Rocket Hall is now, in second place in team franchise history for, game or point streaks for games and everything like that. So, like I said, congratulations to Patrick Kane. He's just on fire right now, Jay.
It definitely sounds like it.
So, but on a sadder note, this is something that came up earlier today, especially since it deals with the Penguins. Pascal Dupuis has announced his retirement. He will no longer play hockey this season. As some of us Pittsburghians know that Dupuis had blood clots form last season, which put him out a lot of games. And Dupuis has only played 18 games this season and was taking blood thinners and just wasn't really feeling right and had several recent medical incidents, that were maybe possibly related to his illness and everything like that. But Dupuis has to hang up his skates at the age of 36. So it's kind of sad to see Duper leave the city of Pittsburgh. But he's decided that to hang up his skates and take his health factor seriously right now. Concentrate on that and try and keep his family whole and everything. Duper is going to be sorely missed in that locker room. One of the true class acts of the NHL. Very good. Really, his career really kind of cemented itself in Pittsburgh. Dupuis played over, I think, 871 games in the NHL over 15 seasons with the Pens, the Minnesota Wild, the Rangers, and the Atlanta Thrashers. 190 goals and 409 points in his career. He was on Pittsburgh's Stanley Cup winning team in 2009. So it's kind of sad to see Pascal Dupuis leave a game that he loves so much and is very good at. His career highs recently came when he was signed in Pittsburgh back in 2008 in a trade with Atlanta that got Pascal Dupuis and Marian Hossa out of Atlanta and into Pittsburgh. So it was kind of sad news today. I saw it pop up on the old interweb there, and I've had a couple friends back home. We were talking about it and everything today, and it's going to be really not to see number 9 skating out that tunnel anymore. So congratulations to him on an outstanding career, just being an outstanding representative of the game of hockey and for the NHL. A really big fan favorite no matter where he went. Just a class act all around, Jay. So I just wanted to bring that one up to everybody's attention. So because NHL just lost a true gentleman today, and hopefully he can get past these blood clots and possibly move on to something bigger and better.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers will definitely be with him in this time because I tell you what, it's got to be rough. I was just looking at these scores. 4 of the 5 games early today all went in overtime, and 3 of those 4 wins is double overtime. Tell you what, that's a lot of exciting hockey for one day.
Yeah, well, last week we did have a new NHL record set. I can't remember which day it was, but last week I do believe it was a Wednesday or a Thursday. 9 NHL. Well, I think it was during the break when I was at home for Thanksgiving. 9 of the 12 games that were on, or 14 games that were on, went into overtime, which set a new NHL record for the most overtime games in one day. So overtime has actually been a big deciding factor this season for a lot of teams. A few teams haven't really seen that much. Haven't seen that much overtime, and actually the board of governors, forgive me for that, are actually going to have a meeting, and they're going to hear reports on the 303 overtime and the coaches challenge. It's pretty much just like filling out a review of seeing how the general managers and the owners and the players and the coaches feel about it. It's just going to be pretty much condensed into opinions and things like that. So that meeting is supposed to happen sometime this week. So I'll be paying attention to that and trying to bring updates through Twitter and everything like that, and possibly have a little spiel about it on next week's show. Also, they're going to be meeting on the salary cap. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I didn't mean to catch up, but And you're educated guess, would you think that they're going to end up getting 2 thumbs up on both of those? I'm assuming that from everything we've seen so far that everybody's happy with the 3-on-3 and the coaches challenge.
Well, I do know that the 3-on-3 overtime will get a definite 2 thumbs up. The coaches challenge, I think they're going to be. I do believe that they're going to be discussing possibly having all the coaches challenges go through the control room up in Toronto, where all plays are reviewed when there's a reviewable play or anything like that, when it's not a coach's challenge. So I do think that might be brought up in the meeting as one of the downfalls of the coach's challenge. But I mean, I've watched a lot of the coaches challenge calls. I try and pay attention to all of them and try and make my own assessments of what I see, even though there's only a few angles that I'm going to see it from. But I believe that they've done a decent enough job to deserve a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up could be a little rough. So I think it's going to be a win-win situation for these reports on the 3-on-3 overtime and the coaches challenge. And I think that this is going to be, I believe that the coaches challenge is going to be maybe possibly discussed as being opened up a little bit more to not only, challenging goalie interference or, offside plays that result in a goal being scored. So they could be talking about expanding it a little bit more. So I've seen a few scenarios in games so far that certain things happen, and you hear you would think about if they could challenge that would be a good time to really challenge maybe a penalty of some sort, or a high stick, or a delay of game call, or just anything like that really. The only other thing that gets really reviewed is if the defensive team shoots the puck out of their zone over the glass without it being touched. That's a delay of game penalty. So I can see that maybe coming into play a little bit. So it's going to be a wide open discussion, and like I said, I'll be paying attention to it, following it closely as I can to bring everybody these updates. Also being discussed this week is the salary cap for the next season, for the upcoming season, next fall, which will, right now this year, the salary cap is at $71.4 million, up from $69 million a season ago. So that's going to be another thing on the board of directors that's going to be talked about. So that's something to also look forward to as well. These salary caps have just been going up and up and up every year. So we could be seeing, some heftier contracts here coming up here pretty soon. I believe once you get maybe to the, if they get it up to maybe 74, even 76 million, we're gonna start seeing some outrageous contracts that, might contend with the NFL in terms of value and everything like that. So. It's going to be these are going to be the things that I'm going to be following very closely this week. I actually got a friend of mine. He's actually doing a little homework for me too, trying to see if he hears anything and everything like that for the Board of Governors meeting this week. So also they're going to be meeting on the expansion for Las Vegas and Quebec. Forgive me. So that's going to be something that's going to be on the table for this week too, for the board and everything like that. There's no discussion right now for them to be ready to play by the 2017-2018 season. If these teams were to be brought into the league, they probably wouldn't play before that season. So that's another thing that I'm going to be following closely. It'll be cool if if the league does give the go on the expansion. It'll be awesome to see Quebec back in Canada, wearing the jerseys again, and bringing hockey back to that part of Canada that's just been sorely missed for since 1995. So all hopes and prayers go to Winnipeg and even Las Vegas. So hopefully we'll get 2 more teams in here pretty soon. And follow me on Twitter when we get closer evidence on this and how it breaks down. I will make sure to make it available for everybody. And it's gonna be one exciting week in the NHL. So I'm looking forward to it, Jay.
Do you expect any bumps in the road, or is this Las Vegas Quebec expansion pretty much a done deal at this point?
Well, I wouldn't say. I'd say it's on the right path to get to have the deal sealed and everything like that. There are still a few things that could possibly derail the situation. We always see, somebody might back out at the last minute. An investor might back out of some sort. Even the city could possibly, back out. Even earlier today, the Florida Panthers, their lease financials were voted and passed on or were passed today, so they're going to be sticking around in Florida for a while. And it could be. I think it could be very smooth sailing. It's been a while since the NHL has expanded the league and everything, so it's about time. And I really don't see anything that is going to prevent this. Anything major that's going to prevent it from happening. So it's all smooth sailing right now, clear skies, and they're just, riding the waves right now on this. So hopefully it'll lead them right back into shore, and, we could see hockey in Las Vegas and hockey back in Quebec. So we're going to be paying attention to that one here real closely. So we're close to a decision here. So I'm excited to see this, Jay. I'm actually kind of stuttering about this right now, but I'm excited to see hockey back in Quebec again.
Now, I know that there's been quite a few changes with the All-Star. Has there been any more confirmation on any of the changes, any of the questions that was kind of, I know we talked about the East and then the West playing, and then the two teams, the Eastern winners and the Western winners play each other. And how that was all going to play out, and didn't know if there was any clarity on that. But is there been any clarification on anything, any new additions, anything that's been modified since the last show we did?
No, I haven't seen anything as of yet that is really major right now. They're still they're still tallying. They're taking votes right now for the All-Star game. So I think they've just kind of really. Kind of watered it down a little bit, and and tried to put a little zing on it too with the 3-on-3 aspect. But yeah, I have not yet seen who's going to be coaching yet. I haven't seen who's going to be the captains for each team yet. I haven't been able to locate any information and onto how periods are going to be distributed amongst the divisions that are be playing each other. So I'm still paying attention to that very closely. So I'm actually looking forward to that. Everything right now is pretty much focused on the outdoor game, the Winter Classic game in Gillette Stadium. It'll be against the Bruins and the Canadiens. That's pretty much where all the focus of the NHL is right now. I would imagine within the next couple of weeks I will see something on the All-Star game a little bit more since we'll be a lot closer to it, come Christmas time and everything like that. That's when we'll start seeing captains and coaches and everything like that. So it's something I'm really eager to actually pay attention to, seeing how it's not going to be two full teams going up against each other, rather than it's going to be four mini teams going against each other. So it's going to be it's going to be a weird format, but I think it's going to work out pretty well.
Now, also I saw today the family of the late Chicago Blacks defensive man Steve Manador suing the NHL, accusing the league of failing to keep him reasonably safe and not providing him with crucial medical information on the permanent ramification of brain trauma. How big is this for the NHL? We've seen this happen in the NFL. As a matter of fact, we just seen that Will Smith just came out with a movie based on all this, the movie Concussions, and obviously a lot of NFL fans are going to go see that movie and kind of, be able to formulate their own opinion based off that movie. But how big of a deal is this for this to be happening in the NHL? And has the NHL been neglectful, such as like the people accusing the NFL, or have they done a reasonably, good job knowing how violent the sport is anyway?
Well, that's a very good question, Jay. And if you look at it, no matter how you look at it, hockey is it's primitive in a way. You don't really, if you look at it, you have padding and you have pads and you wear helmets, but let's face it, a hockey helmet is nowhere near what a football helmet does, and a football helmet can't even prevent a concussion. So, you look at these guys with the hockey helmets, and then you think about, you think back to the day where these guys didn't even wear helmets, and they're not running around on a field or anything like that. They're skating on a sheet of ice, which ice is just as hard as concrete when you fall on it. No matter how you fall on ice, it's going to hurt. So, this has been it's a problem in any physical sport like this. Hockey is exceptionally dangerous because if you look at the hockey helmets, there's really not much to them. There's, in college they make the kids wear, full visors or full cages to protect their face. But, when you get hit, you don't necessarily fall on your face. You fall on your back, and your head whips back, and it just connects with the ice. And the helmets today are just, the helmets today aren't even held in high regard for today's game. So, you always see guys getting laid out on the boards, and they're smacking their heads off the boards, or they're smacking their head off the ice, and you just sit in there and wonder, how is this guy going to be able to get up? Is this guy going to be able to get it to his feet? Because if he can't get to his feet, there should be no way that a coach would throw him back out on the rink, which I've never, seen or even, heard of or anything like that. The NHL is really trying to buckle down on this concussion issue because no matter where you look, there's guys that are always going down with concussions. And it's it's sad. If you look at, just for example, Eric Lindros, who was probably one of the great ones that was going to be, held in high regard to Lemieux and Gretzky and, all those guys. And, his career just got cut short because, he just kept on getting hit and kept on having concussion after concussion. And playing in the division that he did with Scott Stevens and Darius Kasparidis back in the day, and hitting was completely different in the, mid-'90s, early 90s, even in the early 80s. If you watch old game film from the old school games, them guys are trying to really, really make things hurt really, really bad. And falling down and trying to prevent, concussions, there are companies that are, as we all see in football and, hockey and everything, they're trying to develop helmets to, soften the blow and everything. But it's really hard to do that because it's a very small helmet. When a player wears a football helmet, it's kind of hard to see, who it is behind that mask. If it wasn't for a number in their jersey, we would never know. But, looking at a hockey player when he's in his jersey and his helmet, you can see his face. You know who it is because some of these guys, all they do is just wear a half shield over the eyes to protect their eyes. But when they get laid out on the boards or just open ice hit, and they smack their head off the ground, it's a dangerous game. And the NHL right now, the NHL is really trying to button down and, really go through a diagnosis process, you would say, similar to the NFL, if not a lot, with maybe if the same thing, really. So it's a scary aspect to really think about it because, I've had a few concussions playing hockey, and I feel hockey concussions are a lot worse than football concussions just due to the fact if I got laid out on the ice and everything and my head went back and snapped, man, I've seen stars before, and ice is a lot harder than grass, and it's a very, very dangerous game. And I mean, did it take place back in the day? Oh, without a doubt it did. I mean, without the helmets and everything, and even the helmets of the early days, and even into the mid to late 80s, and even into the early 90s. If you look at the helmet that Wayne Gretzky wore, it looked like a little kid's, bike with training wheels bike helmet. It just did not look like it would protect him, if he smacked his head off the ice. In today's game, Easton and Warrior, they're always trying to develop ways of trying to get, soften the blow and everything. And I just don't really see that's going to be a feasible, aspect or a task that's going to be met with, some sort of success. Because no matter what, a concussion is a concussion. I mean, it's dangerous. It's but it happens. It's part of the game. So, I mean, some of these guys do have lawsuits and everything going on with the NHL, and we all see it with the NFL and everything. But it does exist in the NHL, and I feel that sometimes it can be, a lot worse because, guys can get hit in the head with a puck. Guys can, like I said, smack their head off the ice or off the boards. So it's definitely visible. Definitely going to be something to watch here, especially with this new Will Smith movie. I do believe it's going to shine a light on a lot of athletes of many sports, many physical sports. So it's like I said, it's a scary thing, and it does exist in the NHL, Jay.
I bet it does, and this is probably where I'm not going to be liked very well with my next comment. But like I talked about in the first part of the show when I was breaking down contracts, LeBron's new Nike contract, he's got a lifetime contract with Nike. But if you do his endorsements, you do his contract, he essentially makes about at least $205,000 a day. Is what it boils down to, what he makes. And I could break down numbers of everybody, right? And the fact that he makes about a little over $9,000 a pitch. Aaron Rodgers is paid like $51,000 or $52,000 a minute to be on the football field for the Green Bay Packers, based on them playing about 30 minutes offense, 30 minutes defense. So with that being said, as sympathetic as I want to be to these pro athletes now, the collegiate and on down, yes, I have sympathy because you're not getting the kind of contract or the kind of financial payment that the guys in the NHL, NFL, NBA, MLB, and so forth are getting. But essentially, they know the risk. They know how violent this sport is. And I guarantee 99.9% out of 100 people that you surveyed when they went to go sign their contract, if they put in their contract that they knew that they were going to have a concussion, or there's a great chance you'll get a concussion, and whether or not to sign that contract or not, I guarantee each and every last one of them would have signed that contract and took their chances. And so, therefore, I do not have the sympathy when it comes to players be able to sue the NFL or sue the NHL or sue any of these professional sports. I'm sorry, you know that there is a risk. There is a risk in the NFL and in NHL, these two sports, I think, more than any other sport. There's a possibility that you won't even walk off the field or walk off the ice rink or walk another day in your life because how you could get hit and how things could happen. You could be paralyzed, and you know this risk. So as being a human being, yes, I want to be sympathetic for these people, but knowing that there's no doubt in my mind if LeBron James knew that there is a chance that he could get multiple concussions playing his sport, and there's a possibility that he won't live a full life, but knowing that also that someday he would make at least $205,000 a day, I guarantee LeBron James would still be doing exactly what he's doing now and not even bat an eye about it and took his chances on whether or not he would live his full life or not. So with that being said, I only have so much sympathy when it comes to professional athletes like that. Not the same with collegiate or moving on down because they are not getting the same compensation. But that's why I only have a certain sympathy for these athletes because they are being well compensated for what they're doing, and they know the risks they are taking. That's just like a NASCAR driver. You know, there's a good chance that one day you're going to hit that wall at 200 miles an hour, and there's a chance you're not going to walk away from that car. But they strap up and get in that car every Sunday afternoon, so I only have a certain amount of sympathy.
Oh, I agree with you, Jay. I totally agree with you. You know, and it's a scary thing to see. You know, guys. You know, when guys get laid out like that, or get into a car wreck, like you said, on the track or anything like that. It's a very scary thing, and no matter what sport you play, you know, at least whatever sport that is physical or could be physical to your body. I mean, you know, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully down the line, you know, concussions don't ruin, ruin a sport like, you know, how it happened with boxing and everything, where boxing kind of fell off. You know, where you look at the Muhammad Ali and the Joe Frazier's and the Sonny Listons and everything, and how they looked at towards the end of their life and everything like that. You know, hopefully it doesn't detain or, you know, derail, you know, kids of playing sports and everything like that. You know, because I mean, I knew when playing hockey that I was going to get hurt. I know these guys, when they play, they know there's chances where they can get cut, they can get, you know, gashed open pretty good, they can broken bones, anything, you know. And some of these guys, they hide injuries just to play games, you know. And are they playing a dangerous game that way? Yes, but I mean, it's just for the love of the game, like you said. You know, these guys, they would, no matter what, if there was a big warning label that said, hey, you could get hurt and get hurt very seriously, you're right, they're still going to sign that dotted line. They're still going to put that jersey on, and they're going to still go out and perform and play a game that they truly love. So it's, you know, it's a scary aspect.
Oh, most definitely agree. As always, privilege having you hanging out with us tonight. Looking forward to seeing what next Tuesday night brings. Hopefully, work our way on making it up there and hanging out with you guys up there at yesterday's Pub and Grill at 98 Armadillo Lane, Sanford, North Carolina. Great place, you guys in the local area. Great pool tables, great music, great food. We're definitely trying to make it where we make it out there one of these nights again. It's been a while since we've been out there. Having one car and opposite shifts and kids just really makes life difficult to do. But definitely going to make our way out there to see you guys. But thanks for joining us tonight. One more time before you get off, plug your Twitter. That way all the puck heads out there keep up with you, and also shout out to who you need to shout out.
Hey, holler at me at 110 Puckhead. Tomorrow we got 4 games on tomorrow. Sharks and Oilers go at it at 9:30 in Edmonton. Rangers are in Vancouver taking on the Canucks at 10 tomorrow. Also for Wednesday night rivalry, we got 2 games on NBC Sports Network at 7:30. This one's going to be a war, a little preview to the Winter Classic. It's the Bruins skating into Montreal to take on the Canadiens in an original 6 matchup. A lot of bad blood there. And following that at 10 o'clock, Pittsburgh will be in Colorado to take on the Avalanche. Both those games will be on NBC Sports Network. Follow me at 110 Puckhead. Let's talk about these games tomorrow. I got a couple buddies out there that on Bragg. They're a couple Avalanche fans, so I'm going to be talking some smack tomorrow on the Fort Bragg page. So follow me at 110 Puckhead. Shoot me a tweet, fellas. Let's and ladies. I know there's some ladies out there that play hockey too. So let's chat it up and let's talk some hockey.
Thanks again, Izzo, and I'll be keeping in touch with you.
Heck yeah, Jay. We'll be back next Tuesday.
Yes, sir. That was Izzo, our NHL expert. Glad to have him here every Tuesday night from 10:30 to 11. Want to thank everybody for tuning in to the 110 Nation Sports Show. Don't forget we're on Monday to Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Racing with Big Sweat Thursday night, 9 to 11. And then also Monday through Friday, we got the 110 Nation Morning Show at 8 a.m. So make sure you guys check that out. A lot of great things going on here at the 110 Nation. Interested in joining the 110 Nation? All you do is hit me at MrCJSports@gmail.com. You want to help co-host or maybe host a show, write for our blog site, help behind-the-scenes stuff, marketing, social media, PR, whatever the case may be. Like I said, hit me at MrCJSports@gmail.com. Also, if you're interested in coming on the show, all you got to do is hit at Miss Lee. That is Lee, that's LEE_110Nation@yahoo.com. Don't forget on Facebook, my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, hit me up on Twitter at CJ Sports1, the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Make sure tomorrow morning you guys tune in for the 110 Nation Morning Show. Until then, you guys have a great night.
Okay, let's do this. Jog 3 miles before breakfast. Make it to work by 9. Run out for a salad at lunch. Oh, time to own that meeting at 3. Yes, 10,000 steps. What's next?
Fearless is not hitting snooze. That's the power of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program. With more healthy benefits and tools, no one does more to help you live fearless. Sign up at fepblue.org/action by December 14th.